Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing some of the extra clips that I have at least for this week, if not for the next couple weeks, depending if I make this video a couple of parts, since I don't want to limit myself to the about 9.5 minutes of video that I have for this week. I just want to talk for as long as I feel like I need. But what I want to talk about in this video is kind of the work ethic that I've developed over years through the help of my own personal choices, as well as the choices of my family as I was growing up, that have helped shape me to be the person that I am today, at least in terms of what I try to do with the things that I focus on in life with them. So growing up, it was always with sports was my main focus, and I was always able to generally work pretty hard at them, but I was always something that I could do more. There was always more that I could do, more practice, more hard work that I could do with it. And one of the times where I realized that I could work even harder than what I did, and that I had to be obsessed and not just passionate about the things that I was doing, is when I was in high school, in the early part of high school, when I went to a baseball training facility that was in town. And it was open on Sundays, but they opened, it was early, it was 8, which doesn't seem very early, but it was about 8, and I always liked to sleep in on Sunday since I had to wake up early throughout the week. And so Sunday was not a day that I generally like training. And ironically, it still isn't really a day that I like training, since I like to have one entire day off from work and school and whatever with that. So I suppose there was some logic behind that. I just didn't realize it at the time with it. But the facility was like 8:30 to 10:30 was the only time that it was open on Sundays. So if I wanted to go train on Sunday, I had to get up and go at that time. It was either that time, but it was also I had to get to church as well at some point, which that's a whole nother thing. But I never enjoyed going to that, and yeah, so that was a pain on Sundays as well. So I not only had to get up early to train or whatever, but I also had to attend Mass, which was the bane of my existence for an hour every week growing up with that. But that's a story for another day with that. So when I realized, my dad had this talk with me one day. He said, you know, if you want to get good, you want to improve, you want to do all these things, you have to be able to put in the work, you have to be getting up on Sundays and doing stuff. And he said, I had this talk, and you know, I may not have clicked that day, but it's a conversation I remember pretty vividly to this date. And you know, obviously it doesn't apply to baseball anymore since I don't play it, but it applies to really everything. And you know, it wasn't as if I didn't work hard at that time, but it was always that next level of work ethic that I could always have with it. And it's something that you don't realize that you could work harder until you start thinking about all the things more that you can do. And so I kind of went overboard really with it, you know, past that time, and just kind of I didn't work smart, I just worked really hard all the time, and I did as much as I could all the time with it. And I honestly, when I look back, I wish I would have thought up things through a little bit more and had some more training protocols and different things like that. But you know, the things that I did, it helped build good habits of me just kind of being generally obsessed with what I was doing. And one of the big things that I wanted to improve was my throwing mechanics in baseball, since it was a big focus of mine, was throwing faster and being more efficient as a pitcher with that. And one of the things I started doing was recording my throwing stuff. And I talked about this, I believe, in a car rant about recording and the benefits of it. But I recorded everything that I did. I obsessively looked at the videos that I took right after I took them and tried to make changes when I was there, obsessively, too much. You know, I was over the top with it. It affected my ability to improve because I was so focused on 2 throws, look at the video, 2 throws, look at the video, and I was not focused on just the act of pitching or the art of pitching, or however you want to call it. I was focused on that, like instantly fixing whatever issues that I had with my throwing mechanics in that instant as fast as I possibly could. Otherwise, you know, it wasn't good enough with that. And you know, that perhaps is something I also a personality trait that I've had growing up, and it wasn't exasperated until I had the the aid or the tool of video to look at with it, because it's something that you can't really feel, and then you look at it, you're like, wow, I need to change this, and you see a little change and you realize you can make more of a change, and it just becomes an obsessive cycle with that. But through the years that I threw and practiced throwing with that, I really developed, just kind of that obsessive work ethic. Not speaking ability, but I worked pretty hard, so I should have spent more of those years learning how to say ethic, and maybe a little bit less throwing, and I would have been better. But I also obsessively worked out, and it wasn't to get stronger, bigger, any of that. I was actually very self-conscious about getting bigger, specifically in my chest area, since I had gynecomastia with that. So I was worried about just performance related to the sport, which was baseball at that time. 100%. Didn't care about whatever specific number as I was doing. It was sport-specific training. And I did the normal lifts, but it was for the sport. I didn't care what my numbers were at that time. Obviously, I'd like to improve and get stronger, but it wasn't anything like now where I focus on the actual lifts and all of that stuff with it. So I obsessively did that, and once I got to college, I realized that the work ethic that I developed, I was by no means the best player, anything like that. But I will say that I worked damn near harder than anyone else in there, and at least in the weight room. And that's where I realized that I was able to just work harder than anyone in there, because we were given workouts, and you have a workout sheet, and we were there I think 3 or 4 days a week, I forget how much, but you're given a sheet, and you're like, these are the sets and reps and whatever you do, and you track your own stuff, and you try to get stronger or whatever with that. And I would be there for 2 hours, and I'd be working my ass off for 2 hours, trying to get all the stuff on there done, because I had a ton of stuff. And I see all these guys leaving after an hour 15, hour 30, and I was there for 2 hours. I was there like maximum time. The only reason I left when I did is in order to get to the dining hall to get food. But I was there, and I'm like, I'm busting my butt to get all this stuff done, and I'm barely getting it done. And I see all these guys just half-assing it, and their physique showed for it. A couple of the guys that worked hard were the guys that were better on the team, but the guys that were, at the lower levels, they not only were at the lower levels skill-wise, but physically-wise. They were not muscular, they were skinny, or they were chubby, or whatever with that. I did not want to have that physique. I wanted to be stronger, I wanted to be better, I wanted to be as good as I could be, and I wanted to maximize the time in the weight room, because that was the easy thing. I wasn't like amazing at lifting, but like it made sense. Like it was something that was easy to do. You just lift. There was no mechanical focus at that time. It was just try to get stronger each time you do it with it. So I got annoyed with that, but that wasn't really the reason I stopped playing. But that was definitely one reason I didn't want to continue to be a part of the team, because and basically, long story short, as far as the baseball stuff goes, I got to the point in the fall of my sophomore year, so you have like fall baseball and all the practice and stuff, and I absolutely hated it, because we waste like 4 hours of your day and doing like bunting drills and a bunch of crap, and we didn't train, and that's what I enjoyed doing, and training, not just lifting, but training as far as throwing. They didn't let us long toss properly. They didn't train us throwing properly, because there's a lot of nuances within throwing and training protocols that you can do for pitching strength and things like that specifically, that were not done, and things that I had known about, and I even know about more stuff now that would have been beneficial to use back then, but we did none of that, and it was all just crap, and that annoyed me as well. And then I started with my getting knee pain, which made things so much worse with all of that.